Hello everyone, I'm Steve Dickson-Tetteh, currently undertaking my RICS accredited MSc in real estate, and I'm going to dive into some of the UK ESG incentives within the next 5 years to hopefully help address whether there is a case for optimism in the UK. So by many metrics, the sector is a major contributor to global emissions and user of non-renewable resources. Despite substantial progress, for example, with the growth of green building technologies, the sector lags behind other industries in responding to environmental challenges. A report from the World Economic Forum in January 2016 has given a few examples of the industry's past effects on the environment. For example, the sector consumes over 40% of global energy annually, and 20% of total global greenhouse gas emissions originate from buildings. Now, with the data set on the screen, it's important to note that this was researched by the Carbon Dioxide Information Analysis Center, or CDISC if you will, in the year 2015, despite it being published in 2017. So I think that this provides a nice benchmark for contextualizing why the real estate industry has responded to this issue in the way that it has. Now, this slide has one of my favorite mottos of, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And this translated into the efforts of multiple governing bodies to try and start regulating and mitigating this issue. For example, as you can see on the slide, UN Sustainable Development Goals have set certain KPIs, one of which, as an example in Target 7, will be to ensure that by 2030, on a global scale, the industry must double the rate of energy efficiency. Even the EPBD has set a mandatory energy assessment which ensures that all new buildings must be nearly zero energy buildings by the 31st of December 2020. So these give a much more globally collective idea of regulations and goals that have helped to not only mitigate but also quantify the issue at hand. But in this presentation, I'm looking to more assess the impact of ESG initiatives within the UK for the next 5 years. And it'll be good to commence with the introduction of the 2018 MWES initiative. And this initiative put forth the regulation that no buildings can legally be let unless they acquire a rating of E or higher through being assessed with an EPC certificate. And when we look at these data sets, we can actually appreciate that this is having a genuine effect within the industry. As you can see, a general hum from about 2008 to about 2017, where energy efficiency wasn't really changing until 2018, where we can now observe a consistent decline in unsustainable building use, and we're readily phasing out the GNF rated buildings. But EPC ratings on the previous slides solely concern the asset rating of the intrinsic performance of the building. But when delving further into analysing the sustainability of buildings within the industry, we have the display energy certificates to show us the operational rating, conveying the actual energy used by the building, including the total CO2 emissions produced. And it's in these statistics that we're given further comfort in the fact that we are sustainably proofing our buildings and we're further decarbonising. The gradual decline here is almost equal, if not better and faster, when compared to the EPC statistics. And this leads to our case for optimism. We are steadily decarbonising the industry. Energy consumption between commercial and residential all projected to go down. And the industry is even reducing its waste output. However, whilst ESG does firmly have its roots embedded in the idea that we must simply save the planet and it looks good for the face of our company, obviously with its ties to corporate social responsibility, we also have to look at the economic implications of decarbonising the industry. After all, there must be a way that we develop our sustainable actions whilst also making sure to reap some form of economic and social profit in order to generate the best possible outcome, not only for the planet, but also for the firms involved in creating these initiatives. And with the articles displayed here, a lot of research has been compiled to help determine whether energy efficiency may be the way forward in the long term. And this is where I'd like to bring in another of my favorite mottos of how long is something sustainable until it's not. And there are certain considerations with EPC and DEC certification that has to be taken into account. For example, there's variation in detail of information on different certificates, as over time there have been changes in calculation methods that can make assessments inconsistent. And mismatches between modeled energy and operational energy have actually been well documented. And I've provided a source on the slide that dives further into this. Also, if EPCs are only reported after terms and transactions have been completed, there can be no impact on market decision making. So all of these bits considered in turn lead to headlines such as the ones we have here, and the industry will have to find a way to, as I say, future-proof these ESG initiatives. But it's most definitely not all doom and gloom. As unpopular as the Prime Minister may be amongst the British public at the moment, please don't judge me, I'm very much impartial towards him. In his foreword in the Build Back Greener publication, he's brought light to the fact that we've already attracted £5.8 billion of new inward investment in just 10 months as of October 2021. And this is going to support hundreds of thousands of highly skilled and high-wage green jobs. And further diving into how we plan to internalize these negative externalities, Kwesi Kwarteng has outlined the fact that through mobilizing £26 billion of capital investment, this will support 190,000 jobs by 2025, more than doubling to 440,000 by 2030, just 5 years after. And so in turn, £90 billion of private investment is therefore expected to be leveraged by 2030. So the real estate sector will grow stronger whilst the planet will grow healthier. There is a clear plan for the future and there's a clear-cut case for optimism. Thank you very much for your time.